It should be coming up pretty soon.
So, yes. How are you guys?
Did he block? Oh, yeah.
I mean,
hello.
it's valid.
Hey, I don't know if we're going to bring that up. I'll probably just leave that and address it in the future if it comes up again, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly.
Okay.
It's not really that. I'm not bothered by it. I just think it's quite petty, if nothing else.
Yeah, if somebody wants to come and personally like come after us, that's their own beef. Feel the way you feel. Whatever. We're certainly we're gonna address a lot of the criticisms. We're not gonna just run away and hide. But like, if you want to sit here and try to act like you're trying to have a healthy conversation and then go out of your way and block somebody when there's no reason to block them other than fuck you, then that's your own shit. And that's something you have to hash out yourself. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you're no better than 90% of the people that EFAP cover. Like, what makes you any better?
See, at the end of the day, right, we're going to address it in this stream. The people that myself and Meme have been in contact with, a lot of them had really, really good and like insightful points to help with the podcast.
Yeah,
and we're going to take those on board. But whenever you come after somebody and whenever you take really, really menial things such as the name, right, and you critique the name to the ends of the earth, I was sitting going, at the end of the day, we can change the name, we can change the layout, we can change the setup and the cast. How is the content itself?
Yeah,
can we have any information on that? Well,
literally,
all I'm asking is just give us some constructive criticism in that regard. We can change the other stuff. That's not an issue.
Yeah.
My priority would be the criticism of our criticism of other videos and people and so forth.
Yeah. Go ahead, Borgie.
I was going to say, here's the thing. We called it PAFE literally because of the meme, literally for the reference, because we knew we were going to get called an EFAP ripoff anyway, so why not fucking embrace it?
Yeah. I mean, it's literally just like, I don't know what else to say about it other than we're literally paying homage to a podcast that we are inspired by. And if the owners of the podcast literally think it's funny and and gave us their blessing on it, I don't see why people have to be so up in arms about the name. There's no fucking rule against anything. We'll get to all that. We'll get to all that later. We should probably do this more organized.
I was gonna say
it's fresh on the mind, so that's just where it comes from. We'll get more into it in a bit. But welcome to the PAFE recap, everybody.
Yeah,
this was
Josh.
Yes.
Do you want to just kind of maybe kind of lay out what we're gonna do here and maybe then start us off?
Well, essentially, for those of you who don't know, and I'm assuming everybody on this channel that follows us would know, we had a episode how many days ago is it now? Is it 4 days ago?
Yeah, it was Sunday. Yeah.
So 4 days ago we had an episode with Rags, which is, for our third episode of PAFE, is a pretty fucking big momentous occasion for all of us, and I think all of us were really excited for it. We were really looking forward to it. I know you were looking forward to it, Slice. And essentially, lightning seemed to strike several times on that podcast, and just everything that could have possibly went wrong seemed to go wrong. I think probably the best place to start would just be from... Do you want to explain, Slice, why you weren't on that podcast?
Sure.
From your perspective?
Well, let's explain, because I think people have a problem trying to understand how the format of this podcast works. Basically, Josh, being the host, he doesn't actually stream it, at least yet. Right now, we have Slice as pretty much our main guy, who is doing everything on the back end, where it's everything you basically see on screen is because of Slice. Now, that he has nothing to do with the fuck ups of the Rags episode at all. And honestly, that's kind of where the problems lies, is the fact that, we didn't have Slice, and we had to, sub in Woody at the last second, or Woodchuck at the last second. And, I'm sure people immediately want to say, well, why didn't you just postpone it? Well, it was hard because we were already in the call with Rags, and we were just waiting to go live. And we kind of found out in that exact moment that something came up for Slice and he couldn't make it. So we had to bring in Woodchuck to substitute to be our host. And we've worked that stuff out. We have more things in place now. That's literally never going to happen again, as far as we're concerned. And we can go back and touch on this more. I'm just trying to think, what's the first question that would pop into somebody's head? Well, why, this or why that? That's pretty much why that happened. It was very last second, and it's no one's it's just kind of, that's just what happened in that moment. Like he said, lightning struck multiple times. We were sitting there with Rags already for like 20 minutes just talking in a chat, waiting to go live. And then, that's just kind of the situation that it was. It would have been wrong. It would have been a bad idea of us to be like, you know what, Rags, we're not going to do this episode, after having him sit there with us for 20 minutes and shooting the shit with us, and then us not go live. It would have been just a bad idea, I think. And despite everything else and what everyone will say about that episode, I spoke to Rags personally. I spoke to a couple other people from Mauler's Discord that were featured on EFAP. And I'm in agreement. I mean, they said that it's good content. At least the Rags portion was a good video that we covered. The Patrick Holmes video was a good video that we covered. There was a good discussion in there, and it's very watchable. I don't like this idea that it's the whole fucking stream is just ass. If you go back and watch it and you look at the chat, nobody is saying anything until Rags brings it up. And that's completely fine. But no one's sitting there talking shit like, oh, this stream is ass. Like, we're having a genuine conversation. I mean, it was going very smoothly. The only problems that started to come up were because of, Woodchuck and the stuff that was happening with him. So, that's where I'm coming from with it.
We're probably gonna get into the Woodchuck stuff a bit more in a minute or two.
Yeah, that's just more or less an overview. Just if you have any questions right off the bat, I feel like that can give you at least some sort of
clarity and
peace of mind of what was going on or whatever.
So I'll say, Borgie, how did you find it in sitting in with Rags at the start as we were waiting to go live? How did you find that?
It was alright. It was pretty chill. We were just kind of chatting for a bit. We talked about what games did you bring up?
We were talking about Mordhau, and he brought up how he's been playing Guild Wars 2 primarily, and how he hasn't really had any other time for anything else because Guild Wars 2 is pretty much taking up all of his gaming time because it's this huge MMO basically that he's very much into right now. That was most of what we were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
Personally, I felt that during the time that we were trying to set up, I was kind of like, and this isn't a knock on you, Slice, but whenever we had started, right, the first two people on the call was me, Meme, and Slice, and we were sitting waiting for everybody else to filter in, and then eventually Rags came in. But throughout, as soon as other people started to join, Slice had to leave, and like personal issues and stuff, they come up, and it's perfectly fine. I think in hindsight, we definitely should have had a backup just in case somebody, especially for such an important stream, we should have had somebody waiting with the OBS set up to take over if somebody wasn't able to do it.
Yeah. So
right.
I will grant you that is our bad. Specifically, we 100%. Have learned from that. I think Meme, you're trying to get OBS working on your end, so you could be a possible backup.
Yeah, I'll have that all there just in case.
And whatever we need. Once I get my new PC, I should be able to stream on my own.
Now, I will say, I'll take a little bit of the fault as well, because I probably should have said to Josh or any of the other guys, like I should have said, you know what, I don't think I can make it today. That's what I probably should have done. But
I think I can understand it though, because
I was pretty sure that I was able to make it. Everything was going well throughout the day, but then things just came up like randomly, and I wasn't able to make it, which I honestly felt really, really bad about it, because all the guys were like messaging me, and I was doing other things, right? So I couldn't respond. So yeah, I did feel kind of bad that I promised to be there and I wasn't there. So I do take that fault.
I don't have an issue with you. It's the issue was more so the uncertainty of it, more so than the fact that you weren't able to do it. Because I know for whenever we were all sitting in the call, and I'm sitting thinking to myself, like, we should have went live 20 minutes ago. And Slice, like, I had sent Slice messages, and Slice was doing stuff at the time, like personal things came up, and I was sending messages, and I'm like, come on, like, I need you to get back to me. I didn't know, is Slice gonna come back? Do I have to get somebody else in? Like, I was sitting shitting myself, because I'm like, I have Rags sitting in the call right now, and everybody, like, it wasn't terribly awkward, but it's kind of like he's sitting there waiting to go live, and we're all discussing like games and so forth that are like, there was no, like, as silly as it's like, there wasn't even an introduction. Like, there was no like, oh yeah, I'm Josh, this is Borgie, this is Meme. Like, he just kind of sat there and was like, hey guys, all right, you gonna go live soon?
If you know anything about how Rags is, I'm sure you can just kind of picture how that conversation went. And he's pretty easy to speak to. It was just more or less like, okay, like, we had this thing set up for this specific time. I'm here, like, let's go live. Like, he wasn't like actively like not trying to have a conversation with us or anything. Like I said, like, we were talking about video games and stuff that was, going on and whatnot, and the video we were going to cover and whatnot. But, like he said, like Josh said, like, we didn't really introduce ourselves. But I guess because we probably more or less thought we would do that like on the stream, and then shit got delayed. And then once we finally went live, we were just like kind of like a little flustered, I guess. Like, we just kind of like lost, it got like ahead of us a little bit, maybe. I don't know how to really explain it, but that's pretty much all. For myself, how to explain it is, I was completely chill, and then from the moment that Slice left, I was like, oh fuck, like, what are we gonna?
Sorry,
we have Rags sitting in here.
It's okay, bud.
I'm not okay. It's just,
it's okay.
I wasn't sure like what we were gonna, because I was like, it's not an issue with you, but I'm sitting there thinking, how have I not thought of a plan B? We have Rags in the call, and I don't have a backup, and I don't know what's like. For all I know, right, something could have really seriously happened to you. So there is no problem with you having to take out, like, if you had to miss a stream, you had to miss a stream, and if you were able to stream it, you would have. Like, nobody's gonna pass up the opportunity to be able to talk to Rags. Like, the fact that you weren't able to do that, I know that you've said that you're kicking yourself about it, and you're like, it's sure.
Oh,
dude, your mic says
I wish you were there.
Josh, your mic.
And I just,
Josh, please, your mic.
It's
okay.
My voice
for a second.
Nico asks, is Rags gonna be on today? No, he's not being on today. He was on a previous stream, and things went a little haywire on that stream, so we're just kind of recapping everything, just to make sure that everyone knows what happened.
To be clear, things went haywire from like a community standpoint and like a technical standpoint, almost. Like, well, again, we'll address all that stuff, but I talked to Rag separately afterwards, and he said like, he had a good time, and he even, I mean, he said it to me, but he also said, in the stream as he was leaving, I even think he said, he was like, had a good time. If you guys ever want to do this again, just let's set something up or whatever. So, there's always the chance that we'll have him back on again. I'm sure it's a very likely chance we'll have him back on again.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed talking to him, but at the same time, I don't think I would let myself enjoy it because I was so busy. Like, there were so many things from the moment that it started. It felt like in my head I was like picking up every minute thing that went wrong because like before we had Rags on, I was like,
it's definitely a stress scenario.
It was like
because
in my head I'm like, this needs to go perfectly. And then as soon as one thing goes wrong, I'm like, I'm gonna pick up on every single minute little thing. And it's not to say that the problems were minute, but I was picking up really, really small things, and I wasn't focusing on the video or focusing on Rags. And it's kind of for myself, I really underperformed, I think, and I let the stream and I let everybody else down as well. And it's just like, I feel like it was a missed opportunity in terms of I'm not saying like everybody did okay, everybody did well, I thought, but it was the fact that like
the stream was just autism.
Yeah, I think it's probably time to address the elephant or the woodchuck in the room.
The woodchuck in the room.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
So
because this is not the first time we've had issues with them. This was just kind of the final straw.
Do you wanna? Should we go through like issues from before?
Yeah. Although this specifically, this is not the straw that broke the camel's back. This is the sledgehammer that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, I mean, if there was ever a time for him to fuck up the way that he was fucking up, it was definitely not that stream. I'll say that.
Yeah.
He overshadowed what I did, and that was cringy.
Yeah.
See, I think should we? If I go back to the conception of the stream, and if I'm going to be completely blatantly honest with everyone, I had my reservations about Woody from the very start.
Yeah, same with me.
Because I wasn't the person that invited Woody into the channel. And I didn't want to undermine anybody by saying, look, I don't want this person. Because at the time, I was very much of the opinion, like, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to wade in, be the big man dictator and say, nah, fuck him off. He's not being a part of it because he's going to cause problems. I didn't want to do that because I wanted it to be like everybody has a say in decisions. And secondly, I was like, well, he's not actually done anything in our actual podcast. He's not actually done anything to detriment our channel.
Yeah.
So I was like, he's not done anything yet. So I'll
it's just that we've got
how it goes. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. It's just that we've received like criticism about him in the past. Like that, I was also quite like tismed. I just like, who else are we gonna have on? That's the only reason I was like, it's better than nothing. That was my kind of mindset.
And Nico asked what the worst thing that he did was. I would say that if you're trying to figure out what the worst thing he did was, just stay tuned for the next 10 or so minutes because we're going to be addressing pretty much everything there is to address about it. And if anyone who's listening to this is in the PAFE Discord, there will be a link to it in the description if you want to join it. But we have a couple pinned comments that pretty much address everything as well. If you just want more context, I mean, we're going to go pretty deep into it here. I mean, that's pretty much the whole point of this podcast today.
Because I know there's Borgie had a comment on the bottom of the Rags video, and I had a pinned address to everybody in PAFE, and I don't think either of them went into as much detail as we're going to go into today, but it was more just to kind of give a statement and explain like why things have happened. We're going to explain what those things were in a couple of moments.
Yeah.
I guess should we start at where everybody thought why everybody had reservations in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, I can just say right off the bat, from the few voice chats that I was in with Woodchuck, I could already tell that he has a different ideology than what we have for this podcast. You know what I mean? Like he just is more passionate. To put it as nicely as I can, he's more passionate about different topics and different things and honestly just an all around different format. And so that really doesn't jive well with what we want for the podcast. And not to say that it's all about what we want, but we're kind of all in agreement of what this podcast was even created for. And so for him to be like, well, I want it to be about this. This is what it should be about. You guys aren't going to find success doing this, or whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, that's entirely his opinion. It doesn't affect anything.
Borgie, your audio is just breaking up a bit.
What's that?
Your audio is just breaking up a little bit.
Not on my end. You seem fine.
Oh,
okay, well, hopefully it's not.
Chat, is everything okay with their audio?
I'll check it out. Give it a sec.
I should load up the chat as well. Damn it, I'm not doing my job.
Why is the stream offline?
Sorry, yeah, I don't.
No, it's alright. It's fine.
Okay, are we back? Hello, chat. Hopefully we're back. Sorry about that. Crap. I need to change some things here.
It's back up now.
Just randomly went offline.
Oh.
Yeah, I was wondering. Right. Yeah, because you were like, your voice is getting choppy, and then I was like, also the stream is just down. So
yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, although the icons at the bottom are gone.
Yeah,
he's trying to pull it back up. But anyway, wait, let me see. Can we hear us still?
Oh,
yeah, it sounds good. So, Josh, you can continue with what you were saying. It sounds all good now.
Yeah.
So, to address what you were saying with regards to Woody and what he wanted for PAFE, like I recently have been asking a lot of people and asking myself, what do we want from PAFE? Because I think one of the biggest issues was he came into it thinking it was going to be something different. And the things that he's passionate about and the things that he is genuinely, unironically good at, because he does have, like, I'm not going to sit here and say he's terrible at everything. He has points here and there. He has some topics that he's really passionate about. He's really genuinely good at discussing. And he has merit to him. But I just don't think that was within the context of what a majority of people wanted for PAFE and what everybody seemed to think PAFE was. We just seemed to have different opinions of what that was.
Yeah.
And what he could limited by the fact that I don't think he was interested in the things that we were doing. He wanted to, like, I don't even know what he wanted from PAFE is the thing.
He wanted to do conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories, politics, stuff like
that sort of thing.
See, what annoys me is, like, we can do that, but we also have, like, our main PAFE streams are generally going to be reacting to videos in a format quite similar to, like, EFAP, for example.
Yeah, we'll be critiquing video essays, essentially.
Mm-hmm. But that's not to say that we can't do the other things as well within PAFE discussions, within other channels. Like, we could have done that, but he just didn't seem to respect what we wanted to do with the PAFE official episodes, and like it very much what he wanted very much clashed with our idea of what we wanted for PAFE, and I have no issue saying that.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody can disagree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't disagree with that.
No. And I think that was probably part of the reason as to, like, if I want to go back to, he said in one of the earlier episodes that whenever he was streaming it, he didn't feel that he was doing it. Am I?
Yeah.
Sounds fun to me, but
yeah, it might just be me though.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that he said before that whenever we're discussing certain things that he didn't feel that he was able to contribute as much as he would like to.
Right.
And I think that's probably more to do with the fact that we're not doing the things that he wants. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
And
Mhm.
I suppose is there anything else really that, like, from speaking to him that you gleaned from him? Like, Borgie, was there anything that did you have any reservations about him in general?
It's weird because he's usually relatively chill. It's a strange situation. It's hard to describe because he usually acts chill, but I can tell that he wasn't like really into what we were doing.
No.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be blatantly honest, I think that he didn't think he could contribute anything of particular value to the rag stream, for example, and to streams in the past, and because of that, he was trying to crack jokes and messing about with people in the chat. We're going to get into more detail on those things in a minute or two, but I think he was doing those things to preoccupy himself because he didn't think that he was able to contribute enough to justify him being on that podcast.
Yeah.
Does anybody disagree with that?
No,
I mean,
not at all.
Sounds pretty accurate.
Which that's part of the reason why I think personally I got it wrong in terms of that wasn't a stream that Woody should have been on at all, I don't think, because had Slice been able to stream it, or had I had somebody as a backup that could have streamed it, somebody that was interested in the topic, somebody that if Slice was on that episode, it would have been completely fine. If Meme had streamed it, it would have been completely fine. It just so happened to be that I panicked because I didn't have a backup.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't know who else has OBS set up. I can't stream it because it'll not be of a good enough quality with regards to my Wi-Fi and so on. So I had to call upon Woody. And
right.
I think we've all seen where that's got us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No hard feelings about that, though.
See, and as much as I keep feeling that I keep trying to get ahead of myself, you know.
There's a lot to cover, so makes sense.
But Kevin, were you a fan of Woodchuck before this in particular?
I was kind of neutral to him. When I saw that whole thing he had with Bugs, and then the one he had with Diamond Pickaxe, it kind of.
I know what happened. Never. What happened with?
So
you guys are cutting out.
You cut out.
He said he doesn't know what happened with Pickaxe. I think we should address what happened. So essentially, there have been. I'm not going to drop names, but I think there have been instances in which within our podcast and outside of our podcast where people have complained about Woody. Viewers saying that he kind of took a bit away from other episodes.
Borgie and Josh, you guys are both cutting out.
Huh? Oh yeah, I'm at 300. Hold on, give me a second.
Damn,
I know how to
153.
Yeah, give me a split second. I know how to fix this.
Yeah, as I was saying, with regards to Woody, there have been people, viewers have complained about him not taking the content as seriously as they would like him to. People have complained about him being disrespectful from within and outside of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm back. Sorry.
Hello.
Okay.
Do I sound better now?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
you do. Yeah.
Whoa.
Although between those two things, I would say the second one is much worse than the first one.
Yeah, I can categorically say without people have left and refused to join our Discord server and our channel as a result of Woody being a part of our Discord, which I think speaks volumes.
Yeah, I mean,
The
you can
fact
put that
that-
as a general thing as well. I mean, that applies to pretty much the recent stuff and the stuff from the past. I mean, there's people from Muller's Discord who refuse to take us seriously at all because of what he did.
Yeah.
And I think that's the the things that he did, that's going to be undoubtedly our biggest episode for a while, I think.
Yeah.
And the fact that he essentially turned us into a joke, I think. And I don't think that, like, if that's going to be the first thing that a lot of people click on, a lot of people see from us,
Mhm.
and they see somebody taking the piss and making a mockery of what we were trying to do,
Yeah.
that's probably, I think, set us back in a couple of ways. But at the same time, I think there was a lot of criticism that was justified
Mhm.
that I think we need to take on board for PF in the
Yeah.
future. Now.
That stream doesn't reflect I mean, if you go back and watch some of the other streams, you can see, especially from the layout perspective, I mean, you guys can see the layout now. I mean, like we said, you know, we didn't have Slice has, like, you know, all this stuff set up at this point to make it look nice, and you know, he didn't really have any of that stuff. But at the same time, you know, the issues with people being like, yo, can you like fix the chat, make it like readable, instead of actually trying to fix it, he just kind of trolled the people. And then when they called him out for it, he was like, oh, but like, define a troll. They're like, dude, can you just please fix the chat? Like, we just want to like have the chat on screen. And like, this was like during our discussion with Rags. And like I said, personally, I think that part is very watchable. I think there's a very good discussion about that video there. And, you know, Rags doesn't mention really any of it because he's more focused on the watch together and the video itself. And like, you know, thank God he didn't see all the stupid shit that he was doing and causing. And, you know, and just to address, you know, Woodchuck has made a comment, you know, basically saying like, oh, well, we're like a drama channel for like talking about this shit right now. And like, you know, as far as I'm concerned with that, like, I just think that that's completely disingenuous. I mean, you caused us some major, I mean, you basically made us take a huge step back instead of a big step forward. And as a result of that, now we're having to address all these things. And a lot of the problems are things that you caused. Now, not everything is you know, Woodchuck's fault. You know, a lot of the stuff comes down on us too. But I would wager to say a majority of the problems and almost all the criticism I've seen were because of the things that he was doing. At one point, he even fixed the chat, and people were happy. And then he was like, oh, well, I'm going to fuck with them now just because. And it's like completely unnecessary. I mean, these people are potential fans, potential customers, whatever you want to call them. These people want to, you know, consume product that is ours. And, you know, he's actively batting them away with the things that he's doing. Yes, consume. So, you know, I really have a problem with that, and I think any normal person who is part of a podcast would have some sort of problem with that. It was very unprofessional. It doesn't reflect us, any of us, how our ideals or anything that we stand for. You know, we're not these super serious people, but at the same time, you know, that rag stream really humbled us and made us go, oh, well, you know, maybe we should be more professional and we should be more serious. We shouldn't take these things lightly. And, you know, we're still going to joke around and have a good time. But at the end of the day, you know, if we can get these guests on like Rags, then, you know, we need to have it at least fucking functioning. So that's, you know, he had more to that comment, but I think I wanted to just address the part that it just seemed disingenuous to say, oh, you guys are becoming a drama channel. Like, this thing isn't going to work. You guys need to have more experience. It's like, I mean, we would have the same success. No. I feel like we'd have less success if we were talking about politics and fucking conspiracy theories. Okay?
Can I say
this is something we're passionate about.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
like,
Gordon.
you guys are going to need experience. Where do you think we're getting the fucking experience from?
Yes. I mean, it's literally what this is. It's literally what this is.
At the end of the day, whenever he's saying that we're becoming a drama channel for addressing drama, we wouldn't address this drama if it
didn't fucking exist.
Yeah. If it wasn't
Jesus
caused,
Christ.
like, for the most part, by Woodchuck in the first place. And I'm not saying all the problems were his, but if I use the example, if Slice had streamed that, if somebody else had streamed that, there would not have been anywhere near as many issues or complaints, because
100%.
I think I can fairly say that he was going out of his way to antagonize people in the chat during that episode.
Yeah, and not just in the chat, but he literally was in Mauler's Discord while we were live too, and he was doing that.
And I was like, I think I have to. I was in Muller's Discord at the same time, not with Woody. I still haven't seen what he said. I need to go back and like look into it more. But I was in the Discord trying to see like, so there was a few people watching, and I was trying to see what everybody's feedback was and what everybody thought of it. And then all of a sudden, I just seen like a flood of comments saying about how the chat doesn't look nice, and then Rags mentioned it as well. And then I was like, what? So I went to go and see what the. I only looked once because I was like, I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna try and focus on the conversation. So I went to see, and it was like, so essentially, I had done a little bit of art to put at the side of videos that is not meant to be the background for the chat. It was genuinely just a placeholder until we got like
a chat.
Until we got and once we got the chat, we could just put a black background or a dark background so that you can see it.
Yeah, like we have now.
And Woodchuck thought it would be a good idea to have the white text chat overlaid over like a partially white background, which kind of baffled me. So then he went through changing it to a bunch of different things. He changed it to like rags, like actual rags.
Like linen. Like red linen.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, look, it's like in the middle while we were discussing, just went, hey, look, it's rags.
Yeah, we're in the middle of a conversation about the video, and he interjected. And that's another thing too. He interjected so many times with these absolutely random, obscure jokes that we were just
no one cared about
nothing.
It had nothing to do with what we were talking about. So I don't know.
You can definitely see at the end of the video, me, Borgie, and Meme are just kind of, he'll say something to us, and we're just kind of like, yeah, okay, sure. Can we continue? Because at that point, I was just so pissed off.
Right.
But what happened essentially was he went through changing the background of the chat to like
a bunch of random shit.
To rags, to a lightsaber for some fucking reason.
He had like a fucking furry at one point. And, he even made the comment, they were like, dude, like literally at this point, just make it black. And he's like, we don't have the money to make it black. Like if you just remove the image completely, it's black. He was trolling, okay? Obviously it was a joke.
The default is black.
Yeah. So,
it's not funny. It's completely disingenuous to make mockery of not only the people that are good, how's the discussion going and so forth. And then after people are complaining, I went and messaged Woody directly. Borgie went and messaged Woody directly. Theo messaged Woody directly. Meme has messaged Woody directly. Yeah. Everybody on the podcast has messaged him directly and said, yo, sort the background for chat. It looks fucking stupid. Just leave it as a dark background. That's all. Just leave it. And he continued to do it. And the reason why I hold my hands up, I probably should have. In hindsight, I should have called him out.
It's not your fault, though.
Yeah.
We all had an opportunity to say something. We all thought the same thing in our head, which was, we have rags on. We want to keep it on topic. We don't want to cause some fucking commotion in front of rags and have him be like, what the fuck is this? Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Like, let's just do the video. Like, we wanted to keep it on topic and just,
Yeah.
That's pretty much why we didn't straight up. I mean, you could hear that I say some things every so often, but I didn't outright say, hey, can you stop fucking around and take this seriously? Like, if I would have said that would have made it pretty awkward. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I was told by several people that I personally wasn't taking action and that nobody on the stream was taking accountability for it or was taking action. What nobody seen was the fact that all of us were behind the scenes messaging him directly so that we didn't have to turn it into a big scene. And by the point that it became big enough, I was just like I just got to the point where I was like, I fuck it, we'll just leave it be and we'll hope for the best that it turns out okay. And I hold my hands up, that wasn't the best approach to take. I should have pointed it out and I should have said, look, you're taking the hand out of people, you're actively antagonizing people at this point. You need to fucking wise up.
Right.
And I think part of the reason why we've had to take the actions that we've had to take are because I didn't make those decisions at the time. Like, I got a lot of calls wrong that day. I have no qualms saying that. I didn't do the things I wanted to do. I didn't say the things I wanted to say, and I wasn't focused. I wasn't paying attention in the video itself because I was trying to deal with with the problems of the video behind the scenes. With also trying to talk to everybody in the chat in the Muller Discord, trying to get feedback from them, whilst also trying to talk to Woody, whilst also sometimes trying to interject and give my point in the stream.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I was just, my head was gone very quickly because I had so many things I had to try and keep track of, and hopefully I'll not have those issues in the future. Like, realistically, I don't think I'll ever get to the point where I'm that flustered because I'm having to deal with somebody that won't listen to, like, all of the main hosts of PAFE, all of the, like, important people in PAFE. That I think everybody in the council, which is the group of people that make decisions for PAFE, almost everybody, if not everyone within that council, messaged him directly and said, "Yo, can you sort that out?"
Yeah.
I don't know if Drum did, but I'm pretty sure the rest of us did.
I think I'm the only person who didn't send him one.
Yeah. I don't think I did, actually.
I didn't know what I wanted to say to
messaged
him.
about the audio, never mind.
But we all of us had issues with the stream in some way, shape, or form, and he didn't address any of them. And I'm not asking him to come out on the stream and go, "Hey, we have an issue with this." All he had to do was just either cover the chat, put a black background there, and check the audio levels to see it was fine, and that was it. He could have just left it be. He could have left the room, which he later does, and we're going to get onto that as well. He could have left the room and just not been a part of the conversation if he wanted to. But he chose to fuck about with people and antagonize people, and that's not. His actions have reflected badly on everybody in PAFE, not just him, and that's the point that I don't think he's seeing either. The fact that he's made the rest of us look bad. He's made every single person that has ever came on to PAFE to try and have genuine criticism, which is ultimately what we want to do.
Yeah.
I think the issue is we were trying to take it seriously, and he was just treating it like a fucking joke.
And I do get it. That's the thing, because I know that he didn't think he could contribute in the same way that the rest of us were trying to. But by no means is that doesn't justify you taking the piss out of everyone. That doesn't justify you derailing the stream for a joke. Like, taking the piss out of us and taking the piss out of, like, he mocked our guest.
Yeah.
Like,
that's over the fucking line.
He's putting furries in the background of the chat and sitting, like, tee-heeing to himself like some child. This man is 30 years old.
Yeah, that's something that needs to be said.
He's older than Rags, actually.
He's literally older. Yeah, Rags would have been the oldest on the stream. I second oldest. But Woody being there, Woodchuck, he is literally a 30-year-old man. Not to make the Leafy argument, but he's a 30-year-old man. Okay,
Sorry.
like,
yeah.
Were you getting Leafy flashbacks?
No, he mocked Doggo Senpai. He crossed the fucking line.
And like, I don't know if the rest of you want to go through your ages, but personally, I'm 18.
Oh, guys, look at the chat.
What's wrong with the chat?
Look at the chat. He's here.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's just honestly,
well,
let's
I'm
just
happy
keep going. Go ahead.
Well, does anybody have anything else to add to the situation regarding what he was doing on the stream and how he was being with people?
I mean, bottom line, like,
the fact that the audio completely cut out for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we didn't really even talk about that part.
Yeah.
I mean, in the second portion, in the part 2 of the Patrick Williams video, that it was myself, Borgie, and Josh for most of it. You know, at one point the audio just completely, I mean, for one, it was echoing horribly, and then another part, I mean, there was literally just zero audio altogether, and he had just stepped away from the computer to go attend to something that was happening, I guess, outside of his house or something like that.
So what happened was there was sirens going past the outside of his house, and he said, "Right, well, so what I did was I muted myself so that nobody could hear me, and he ended up I can understand it could have been a genuine problem or a genuine mistake where he's deafened us by accident.
Yeah.
He deafened us and then left it without checking to see if it was still okay before he left. Then he left for like 15 minutes, and me, Board Game Meme, are sitting there going, do we just leave? Like, we're sitting here for 15 minutes not knowing what we're doing.
Yeah.
There's no point in us addressing the video because we can't, because nobody can hear us. There's no point in us continuing because we physically can't. We can't get in touch with him because he's left it. And
we tried to.
We're sitting there. We don't have control of the situation. We can't do anything. And, you know, as much as I would have liked to have just like disciplined him on the stream and said, you need to wise up, you need to stop being immature, and you need to grow up a bit. Personally, as an 18-year-old, and I'm not using the excuse that, I'm not mature enough. I should have been mature enough to say, but I didn't feel that I had the right to tell a fully grown man how he should act.
That's why I brought up the age thing. It wasn't to take like a fucking shot at him or anything. I'm just simply saying, like, there's some things that you just like can't really like teach somebody. I mean, we're literally all younger than him, so like it's one of those things where we fucking like I don't know what to say to you about trolling people who are trying to watch a stream or just really basic things. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. Well, I guess I probably will have to get going fairly soon. But like I did say, it's gonna be it's a pretty short stream today. But I guess for now, do any of you or all of you want to just kind of summarize it all? I guess.
Obviously, we need to directly address criticisms. The main criticism was like obviously in regards to Woody, but we are actively as well taking steps to be more professional.
One thing I would say before we start trying to go over stuff, we took steps to we all came together and thought it was within the best interests of our podcast to not have Woodchuck on the videos anymore, which wasn't a decision that I wanted to make, because despite the fact that I said from day one of PAFE that I was worried he would at one point or another compromise the integrity of PAFE. Despite that, I never wanted to get rid of him, because that's not... I don't want us to just get rid of people that we disagree with, or get rid of people that... It's not even that we got rid of somebody we disagreed with. We got rid of somebody who was being disrespectful to people, who was actively... I have pointed this out to him before. I've messaged him directly and tried to help him out, giving him advice, saying if you're going to be a part of PAFE, you have to be aware of the fact that if you say things, you either have to justify it or explain it. If he's sitting taking the piss out of people, he should have said, he shouldn't have been doing it in the first place, but he should have clarified, I'm just messing about, I don't mean anything by this, I'm not taking it seriously. At the very least, he could have addressed it, but he shouldn't have done it in the first place. Secondly, he's essentially... This is the equivalent of me owning a shop, and then I decide to shit on all of the products. And then I'm sitting there wondering, hey, why is nobody buying my shit? Literally and metaphorically. But he should have known better, is the bottom line.
Yeah, and that's the issue. And also the whole there's the situation in Discord, which probably best not to go into.
Well, I think we can say, without mentioning names, there were people that left the... is that what you're referring to? People that left the Discord? So that was the first time that there was a real red flag brought up to me where somebody sent me a message directly and said, "Yo, I can't be a part of this if he's going to be within this Discord because he's being disrespectful to myself and my friends." And I spoke to him about it, and one of the things that was really a huge part of why I was telling him was, if you're going to be a part of PAFE, you have to be mindful of other people's feelings. You can say what you want, but justify it. You can say what you want, but make sure that you don't actively antagonize or offend people. And that's exactly what he ended up doing on the rag stream. He was antagonizing people. He was taking the piss out of us, taking the piss out of our host or our guest for the episode. And it really annoyed me personally. I don't know if it annoyed you. I'm sure it did annoy you quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of...
Yeah, I was a bit peeved.
I mean, it wasn't fun to deal with.
Should we go on to the genuine criticisms from people?
Yeah. Let's address
sure.
the genuine ones first.
Again, not to say that Woodchuck wasn't a genuine criticism, he was, but
I mean, he was the center of 90% of the criticisms that we received from people directly. So I mean, that's where most of it comes from. And again, I mean, most of these criticisms probably wouldn't have even came up had the fucking unnecessary trolling of the people watching occurred. So
yeah.
But anyway, we can move on to the criticisms and whatnot.
Does anybody want to start us off on that, or do you want me to?
So
okay, good. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, if we can
Sorry,
actually
I was drawing a meme real quick.
Oh yeah, no
stuff.
No, I finished the video. I
Well,
actually just finished the video I was at, saying we can watch it at the end if you want.
I think
right. Slice hasn't got a lot.
Yeah,
Go
sure.
ahead, sorry, Slice.
Okay, well, just to kind of I don't know, maybe this can just be our kind of closing thing. Yeah, like there were lots of genuine criticism that people, gave us, which was really good because I think we wanted to just get the content out there, but I think in hindsight we probably should have maybe spent a little bit more time before each one to really get everything set up, to get the visuals all cohesive.
Our mics, we had issues with mics, we had issues with visuals.
Yeah, mics,
we had
Discord is actually kind of like I love Discord, but with streaming with Discord, it's been a little bit tismy.
Yeah.
But
well, it's just unreliable. I mean, sometimes they can literally just be down, and there's nothing you can really do about that. I mean, there's other programs we could use, but like saying to use Audacity, I mean, that's just not smart. That's something that you do when you're all in the same room, or you can give everyone the same recordings, and then even then that on the back end that requires a lot of editing and syncing and stuff like that, and things that is just completely unnecessary to deal with that you can literally just solve with being in a call on Discord.
I think to be honest, even at the most basic level, right? If you use Audacity, that's all well and good. But if we're using Discord and we can't hear one another, there's no fucking point in us recording our personal audio because we can't hear each other. So if there is an issue with speaking to each other, that's going to come through on Discord.
We might as well just do individual. We might as well just do individual response videos then.
Yeah, I mean
that doesn't. Point, it's not a live stream at that point.
Yeah.
And like, if I'm gonna quick fire through the genuine criticisms, there was people saying about like the unprofessionalism was a big aspect of it in terms of
like we are taking steps to be more professional.
And like what annoys me is I think we probably had rags on far too soon in our podcast, but I think it's definitely the kick up the arse that we need, and if we want to be taken seriously, because at the time, like before we had rags on, I just took this to be This is just a bunch of mates that come on, have a laugh, and try to do what EFAP does, but worse. And in hindsight of the Rags video, I'm like, we need, like, a lot of people were saying we need our own identity. We need to stand on our own 2 feet, and we need to show the professionalism and the capability that we can do that. So, like, we have to show that we deserve to have people like Rags on the podcast, and we do that through, like, being more professional. We do that through being better at our critiques and structuring the podcast better, making it look nicer and all. And all of those things were taking a lot of effort in the background to, like, make changes to PAFE to try and do those things. One of the big issues that I had was that people didn't like the fact that we were called PAFE. And I'm not going to mention names because, like, the people that, like, you know who we're talking about if you hear us. Mm-hmm. Essentially, people are saying that they don't like the fact that we're called PAFE because it is essentially it's not EFAP lore. The EFAP lore states that PAFE must be the villains, i.e. Movie Bob, Patrick H. Williams, Brown Table, any others?
Yeah.
Eric or
just right.
So essentially, because we don't adhere to the lore of a separate podcast, that yes, we were inspired by it. We were inspired by EFAP. I'm not gonna, but at the end of the day, we are our own thing, and we're trying to make steps to, like, push away from them to try and be more independent. But at the end of the day, why on earth should we adhere to the lore of a different podcast? That's not a knock on. That's not a knock on EFAP. But essentially, by that standard, any YouTube channel that exists from EFAP that may contradict EFAP lore shouldn't exist by that standard, because it doesn't adhere to the EFAP lore, which is inherently a very silly argument, I think. With regards to, like, the future, I hope that we can do better than that rag stream. I think that rag stream just kind of, it let us all down, I think. And I'm gonna, like, Woody was in chat earlier on, and I'm gonna address what he said. He said that essentially we're trying to.
I love that, Borgie.
Yeah.
Also, he's still in the chat.
I know. I can see him typing.
Josh, are you there?
I think he's trying to look up something.
Josh.
That or his internet could have gone out on him. I've had that happen to me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as for the name, we don't. Just because it's a pre-established EFAP meme, it doesn't have anything. I mean, I'm sorry, but, like, that just doesn't really matter to us. I mean, if Mahler and Rags do not care, and they have openly laughed and said, you know, oh yeah, good on you, good luck with it. Like, why should we then adhere to this specific thing about an obscure joke that, you know, they don't even reference on a normal basis? I'm not trying to shit on the EFAP fans or anything. I'm a fucking huge EFAP fan, but, like,
I need to address something. Kyle in the chat, you said we made fun of a guy for phallic criticism. Who? Can you give me an example?
If we can have a reference for that, it would be.
Yeah, can you give us a reference?
Yeah, I would need a specific reference of what you mean by making fun of somebody.
So I think I know who you're referring to. We didn't make fun of him. We made fun of his criticism. His criticism was that we can't be called PAFE because PAFE are supposed to be EFAP villains, and us not being the EFAP villains contradicts PAFE lore.
Yeah, and we have since then. I've since then spoke to him, and he.
I've went out of my way to apologize to people for.
Kyle, if you do want, like, after the stream's done, you can come into the PAFE, like, you can just bring it up with me if you want.
Yeah, we can. Like, I'm happy enough to discuss it if you are.
And, like, let me give you some background too. I'm just gonna say, like, as far as the whole making fun of, because I still don't know. I still to this day don't know what specifically was being made fun of. The only thing that I can think of that I personally said was, and I'm not going to say what I even said, but the chat was something along the lines of, I'm not going to use you guys for, I don't want to give you publicity because this is a meme, a pre-established meme or whatever. And us reading that, not knowing who this person is, not knowing what they do or anything like that, when we read that, we look at it, we go, oh, that's like a joke.
I thought that's why we didn't take it unironically a joke. It was.
I genuinely thought he was kidding. I didn't understand that this person like genuinely cares that much about the name of a podcast that the two hosts of the podcast that the name is based off of literally don't care and gave us their blessing to use.
Yeah.
So like I don't really understand how.
One of which has been on the podcast and didn't actually bring that up. Like he said that the things that Rag said was we need to find our own identity and need to be. His words were, we need to be a first-rate version of what we want to be instead of a second-rate version of EFAP. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
And like one of the things that Woody said in chat today was, what was it? The irony is that I created a laugh. It was definitely EFAP, but worse. We don't want to be EFAP, but worse.
Yeah, we don't want to be EFAP, but worse.
We want to be on a level with EFAP. We want to be as good, if not better. We want to be. We don't even want to be EFAP at this point. We want to be something external. We want to be able to make our own path.
I mean, we all if you go on the first recap, we all explain our motivations for making this. Like my motivation was literally covering videos that like are unlikely to get covered on EFAP.
Yeah, and the format was taken from EFAP. It was inspired by EFAP. It wouldn't exist without EFAP. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that we can't do it. It doesn't mean that we have intentions for PF that go beyond what EFAP is.
Yeah.
Like
we're not going to turn this into fucking Joe Rogan.
No.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, and we've explained why the name is EFAP backwards. If you don't want to accept the explanation, that's entirely up to you. But as far as why the name is the name, it's literally paying homage to the podcast that inspired us to create this podcast. That is all it is. That's all it's ever been. If you don't want to accept that for what it is, that's completely fine. You know, to say that you know nothing can be named PAFE because of this pre-established meme or whatever. I mean, I urge you to Google the word PAFE and see all of the results that come up. It's literally a reference, and that's all it is at the end of the day. I'm sorry, but that's literally all it is. We did not make it to live in a shadow. We didn't make it to make any sort of like, we're affiliated with EFAP. No, it's literally a reference to a podcast that we respect. It's paying homage to a podcast that inspired us to create this one. That's literally all it is.
And also, I want to address something else that Woody's brought up, saying that he could send me a voice clip.
We can't use it for memes anymore. It's a fucking meme.
The contention is that people want to use PF as a as a part of EFAP lore to create stories for EFAP lore, right? That's fine. But you can do that. You can make it explicitly clear that the PF that you're talking about is not us, right? By the fact that you have Movie Bob in it. We don't have Movie Bob. We don't have Patrick H. Willems. We are not the PF that you know, right? We are not EFAP. We are not a part of EFAP. We are separate to EFAP, right? There are companies called PF. Are you advertising those companies whenever you make an EFAP lore story for PF? No, because that would be absurd, because they are separate to EFAP, just as we are. We may have EFAP guests on, we may have EFAP hosts on, but at the end of the day, we are not a part of EFAP, we are not affiliated with EFAP, we are separate to EFAP. And I said, I have said in the past, I think I want this to be EFAP but worse. I don't want it to be worse. What I think is, at the minute, that's what it is. But I think I think all of us want to be a lot more than that. A lot of us want to extend beyond EFAP to not have to, all of us came from the EFAP community, from the Mauler, from the Rags communities. All of us came together because of them. Without them, PF wouldn't exist. So I think, to be honest, I think personally it's more than reasonable to name the podcast as an homage to them, because without them, PF wouldn't exist whatsoever. At the end of the day, if you don't want to accept that, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But that's the explanation for it, whether you want to accept it or not. And not to say that there aren't problems with EFAT or with PF. Sorry, not to say that there's no problems with us. That I know there's problems with me that I need to address, problems that we're trying to address internally. But at the end of the day, the point still stands that we're trying to be more than EFAT. And whenever people like Woody come in, undermine what we're trying to do, and then other people take what, we did end up coming across as a second-rate EFAP, and that's not what I want for the podcast.
Let me address this comment that Naira has said, is that we shill in the EFAP podcast chat. That couldn't be further from the truth. The only time that has ever happened is for the episode that we had Rags on, which was completely relevant because we said we were having Rags on, and if you guys wanted to hear a discussion with Rags, here you go. There was that, and I don't even know if we posted that. Did we post this one in there? Even if we did, the whole point of posting this one is because of all of the criticism that we got. We wanted to address it for you guys so you could see. You know, if anyone was there by chance, you can see it.
They may be talking about me. I posted a screenshot of us and EFAP because we were streaming at the same time. I'm like, oh, our timing is really fucking bad.
Yeah, just like as a good joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one I showed in the council, it's the same thing.
And Naira's saying again that he's upset that they're upset that we're taking PF from the meme. I genuinely didn't consider the meme. I genuinely just went, hey, it's EFAP backwards, let's do that. Secondly, PF as a concept, the concept of PF villains is a concept that extends to EFAP and only EFAP. It doesn't extend to us.
As Fry said in the chat, like, PAFE is barely a relevant meme on EFAP. Like, I genuinely, I watch EFAP probably, I would argue I watch it more than anybody in this call. And I cannot recall a single time that they've referenced PAFE ever. Besides like three. I seriously, I can remember them bringing it up once and being like, oh yeah, it's like the evil EFAP. Haha, that's funny. Yeah. And then when it was brought up to Mahler recently in the super chats, he was like, oh, like, what is that? Like, that's interesting. Like, what are they? He's like, is it like, do you guys just like cover like, video essays, or like, is it supposed to be the opposite of EFAP? He's like, oh, what is it? And then, we had Rags on, and, we clearly, Rags saw what it was, and he enjoyed the conversation as much as you guys want to say that he didn't. I mean, I literally private messaged him afterwards and had a conversation with him about it.
He literally told us he did.
Yeah, I mean, he literally said he had a fine time. He thought the video was a good video to cover, and that there was good discussion in there. So, like, I mean, if you want to believe it, if you want to believe that he had a bad time because you want to see us fail, or you don't like us because of the stigma that we may have accidentally given you, that's completely fine. But don't be disingenuous about it by saying Rags didn't want to be there at all. I mean, the dude was pausing the video, making points at the last couple seconds of the video multiple times. I mean, he was literally running the video for us. I mean, he in most instances, he offered very good. He offered very good discussion in that video.
To be honest, like, for those of you who know of
I believe, I'm not sure if it was you. I know people were saying it. Didn't Scooby say it?
Pardon?
No. Kyle said something in the
No, so there were chat. People there were people that commented saying that. In fact, no, Naira. Yeah, well, I suppose we are kind of addressing you directly at the minute, and you're also on the stream itself.
Well, they're bringing up contentions in the chat, and they need to be addressed. If this is something you genuinely think, then yeah.
So I would point to your comment on the last episode where it says, I should bring it up actually.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, just to be sure.
just to be absolutely clear, the PAFE meme from EFAP, it came up, and it probably within like a couple days it was dead, and they haven't referenced it since. So I don't know, like we're like how many episodes into EFAP, and they do know of us.
Yeah, episodes into EFAP.
Yeah. Again, Naira, if you want, like after the stream, I'll.
Good thing to
yeah,
do.
we can have a conversation after the stream, 100%.
Yeah.
We don't have to record it and put you on. We're not trying to put you on blast or anything. I mean, obviously, you're in here on your own volition, trying to make some serious, contentions or whatever, and that's completely fine. And we completely respect. That's another thing we need to say. I really appreciate all of the actual criticism that we got that was genuinely constructive criticism. It meant a lot to me. I spoke to a lot of people who watched that stream directly, and I had actual conversations with them. Mm-hmm. And some of the things that they said were very nice, and some of the things that they say to me privately are different than what they say in the Discord, so that's fine. I mean, have your own self-image, I guess, but I feel like some people were being a little disingenuous about that stream because they want to shit on it for the sake of shitting on it because they don't like us or because they whatever.
There was valid criticism. For a very good example would be, what was his name? Fried with Tomatoes. He gave some really good criticism. Like, thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. He left a very thoughtful, long, critical comment on the video.
Mm-hmm.
There's been several people actually who have left some pretty good comments, letting us know about, say, the audio quality or whatever different issues that they suggested that we try to improve and move forward with, and we do really appreciate that, because we do want this to be as professional as we can get it. But at the end of the day, we do want to just have fun. We want to have a good, have good streams, have good discussions, and learn about different things maybe, or, whatever. So, I don't know. I think it's almost getting to the point where it's getting overblown. I think.
Yeah. It's definitely been overblown. I mean, again, if you like Nair said in the chat, like, I didn't say he had a bad time. I said that he was a saint for putting up with it. There are people who are trying to be disingenuous about it and saying that he had a terrible time and that he didn't want to be there, and that, oh my God, like, wow, that's shocking. He was able to sit through that. Like, it's like,
although I think
if the dude was uncomfortable, he would have said something. I don't agree with the stigma that, oh, well, that's just an act he puts on for camera. He's actually a very nice guy. He's capable of being polite. Yeah, of course he's capable of being polite. And he's also capable of calling out actual criticism like he did in that stream. Fucking microwave in the background. And he talks about the stupid chat and how unprofessional our thumbnails look. Why, if he was being polite, why would he say all those things, but he wouldn't say the one thing that everyone says that he's thinking in his head? It doesn't make any sense for him to not say it, is what I'm trying to say.
To pull you up on that, though, I think.
And also to bring up what Kyle said, I think Kyle was responding to Woodchuck with that comment.
Right, and I'm not trying to come after you or anything like that.
Yeah.
And no, I disagree. I don't think you're being dishonest either. I think it's just I think where the dishonesty comes from is saying, oh wow, Rags was clearly having a bad time. He was uncomfortable in that stream. I challenge you to what's up?
Like, to call you up on that, and I'm not having to go at you personally, but from the viewer's perspective, right? We don't, as us on the podcast, we don't see what the viewer sees. So what the viewer sees is somebody taking the piss in the chat, somebody taking the piss on the stream itself, making the chat
like,
pardon?
It's like, not Naira, Kyle. I can call you either Naira or Kyle.
I never misgendered you once either. I'm sure it was someone else, but I'm just saying I didn't.
If you're like referring to calling you Carl, like we were just like fucking around. Like, well, we weren't fucking around. We were just calling you.
No, we just don't know you, so we're calling you by your name. That's literally all it is. Sorry,
but as I was saying, like, From the
no
viewer's
intent to misgender you,
perspective,
don't I?
from the viewer's perspective, they don't have a clue what's going on behind the scenes. They can't see that we're messaging Woody to try and sort things out.
Right.
They don't see that we have, like, they don't see that I'm trying to talk to people and sort the problems out behind the scenes instead of addressing it on the stream.
And they don't see the conversation afterwards that I had with Rags or anything like that. And I get that. And listen, like, all I'm trying to say is that I've rewatched, at the very least, I've rewatched the Rags portion twice at this point because I genuinely wanted to see if it was like hard to watch, like people were trying to say. And you know what? I could be biased because I was on it, and that's perfectly valid to say to me. But at the same time, I rewatch it. There are genuine discussions that are had in that portion of the video. And like to say like that it's uncomfortable. I mean, there's these goofy moments, and you can I laugh at the highlights that were uploaded. I think they're funny. I think they're funny. Honestly, I do.
The microwave part stands out.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking hilarious because it's Rags's fucking like deadpan delivery that makes it fucking hilarious. I mean, that's just him as a person.
And even then, I think the reason why he wasn't as active is simply just because like he didn't know us. He wasn't super familiar with us.
I'm like, at the end of the day, right? People are making a judgment of what they see. And
Naira, to address that, we didn't know Woody was going to troll anyone.
Yeah, we didn't know any of that. We've already listen. If you want to hear the full thing, just I urge you, as much as you don't want to, and as much as you just want to see us fail or whatever it is. I urge you to just watch this stream when it's uploaded and listen to the things that we said. I don't think it's that.
I think it's just a case of.
I just mean in general, not just this person specifically. I mean in general.
Yeah. Yeah, although, like, Naira, like, again, just come onto the... So you're already in the server, you can just chat about it. But the thing is, we generally didn't know that he would do that. We thought he would actually just have the stream up normally. We didn't know he was going to fuck around.
And I want to caveat that by saying, we don't hate Woodchuck. I don't despise him. I'm not really, like, I was annoyed with him at the time, but with reflection... I can understand what happened. I understand that I made the bad call to bring him on in the first place. That maybe I should have been a bit more forceful at the time. That maybe I should have dealt with it better. But at the end of the day, we wish him the best in the future. We hope that like some of the like I'm not going to deny that he doesn't have problems because anybody can see that whenever you antagonize people, that's not like. Whenever we brought up like what we at the time what we considered to be a joke criticism, we were still for the most part respectful in terms of we considered it to be a joke. But whenever somebody's pointing out to you, can you just do this one thing? Whenever everybody with that podcast who was either a viewer, Rags himself, everybody that was in the call with Woodchuck, everybody told him several times, can you please just leave the background as black? And he couldn't do it. And he antagonized people, he made fun of people, he was just taking the piss.
Yeah.
And that extends beyond us. That extends beyond what's within our control. Because like I couldn't kick him. He's on the stream. I couldn't kick him. He's streaming the video. I didn't want to kick him. And I didn't want to I didn't want him to have to leave PAFE. But at the same time, this isn't a new thing. This is something that we've brought up with him before and said, look, can you address this and can you make sure that you're conscious about this, especially taking PAFE into the future? And he ended up doing it on one of our biggest episodes.
We say one of our biggest, our biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something else that I think definitely needs to be kept in mind is, and it's not a justification for anything, but that was our third official PAFE episode.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people easily want to gloss over that.
And like, this is not like EFAP where they actually have experience streaming. We haven't.
For most of us, PAFE is our first experience of YouTube. Full stop.
And let me just say real quick, Naira, as far as any other criticisms you have or anything else you want to say in the chat, we can have a discussion about it in the Discord after this podcast is over.
Yeah.
Because the things that you're bringing up now have already been addressed, and we don't need to sit here and talk about it anymore because it's already been addressed. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's not valid anything that you're saying, but like, you know, as for you saying, oh, so you let them troll the stream so you didn't have to deal with it. No, that's just completely false. We've already addressed something like that. Again, you weren't here to hear it, but it was addressed earlier in the stream. So
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
we don't need to go over
I
it
think that's,
anymore.
Okay.
A good, probably a good place to leave it there.
No, I just like.
What's wrong,
I
Kevin?
want a conspiracy videos.
Yeah,
Why can we address flat Earth?
Yeah, Woodchuck, we discussed what your wants were, and we were very, you know,
Why can't we discuss QAnon?
we brought up, we weren't disingenuous about it or anything. We said what your likes were, and you know, at the end of the day, you just have different wants than what we have for what this podcast is. So, like, that at the end of the day, that's just all it is.
If you want to go on and have a podcast yourself, like, we're more than happy to help you.
And we will
with
support
it.
you on it.
Shit, we'll fucking come on it for you if you want us to. Not sexually, of course.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
It depends on how good it is.
We've.
I don't wish you any
pretty
ill
much
will.
covered everything.
I've enjoyed some of the conversations I've had with you. Okay, like I don't think you're a bad fucking person. I just think you had a serious lapse in judgment, and like to troll people, it was just, yeah.
I think the biggest issue is just self-awareness, and if you're not self-aware and you're on YouTube, you probably, you know, it's not a good mix. Put it that way. Like you. In this business, and it's not even a business, just in general, if you're going to be speaking to people, you need to be aware of what you're doing. You need to be aware of how you're coming across. And I think that's something that definitely needs to be learned. And to be honest, with regards to that, before we wrap up, with regards to the last episode, I hold my hands up and I say a lot of the problems, even with Woodchuck, were as a result of myself not taking action. Because at the end of the day, right, nobody else should have to, like, it wasn't anybody else's, nobody had to do it, right, apart from me, in terms of it wasn't anybody else's responsibility to have to call him out. Like, at the end of the day, you could have, right? But I think, personally, it was one of those things that you guys could, you guys, like, if you had done it, that would have been fine. But I think in terms of, I consider myself to be one of the people within the podcast that should deal with issues like this and deal with it a hell of a lot better than it was dealt with. And I felt that the onus for bringing those things up and sorting them out on the stream itself, instead of, like, I was sitting in the Discord with Muller's fans sitting saying about how I was just like, I'm really upset about this, and they're sitting going, why are you not acting? Behind the scenes I was trying to tell Woody, but he wouldn't listen, and I didn't want to bring it up on stream, as I've said,
and distract Rax from the content that we were covering. We went over that, and I agree with what you're saying.
I think I should have bit the bullet, and it shouldn't have fell to anybody else to have to have said to him. And I think I hope.
Well, you say that. Me in theory are co-hosts. You don't need to brunt the fucking weight of this.
But at the end of the day, I do genuinely think that
what it comes down to is, I think all of us were maybe not quite as prepared as we should have been for a podcast like this, where we want to go for, you know, a good couple hours and that type of thing. So I think that's really what it comes down to. We were just not really prepared the way that maybe we should have, because we wanted to get out the content, right? So yeah, basically, now going forward after this stream, we will definitely try to make sure that every single thing that we can think of is in place and ready to go for streams. And
like backups, changing the OBS to make it look more professional.
Sorry, what was that?
No, I was just gonna say, like, we're trying to have a schedule at the minute so that we can have consistent content. We're trying to like sort out. Me and Slice are working together to try and get OBS set up for to have it consistent, and to help memes set up as well, so we have a backup in case somebody's not able to do it. we're trying to think of as many things as possible to try and take the extra step to prove that we deserve to have people like Rags on, because I don't think that we should that. Like, ironically, I would say one of our worst streams in terms of not in terms of content, but in terms of reception, our worst received stream was the one with Rags.
Yeah.
All of the other ones, apart from the ones that I tried to stream that have like genuine connectivity issues, all the rest of them,
although those aren't
really good
we
feedback.
deleted those like every time, because usually when a stream goes like that, we don't keep it up. The only reason we kept that one up was because of Rags.
Yeah, and it annoys me that
So Naira, the reason Josh isn't hosting the stream is that his Wi-Fi is not good enough to host a stream.
Yeah, if I were to try and stream this episode, it would just
These are things that we discussed earlier. Like I said,
we tried to
any issues that you are probably going to bring up, we probably addressed already. I can almost guarantee you.
Again, not to say that
also Josh is
valid.
laptop.
It's completely valid. Yeah.
What was that, Kevin?
I said also Josh has like a really low spec laptop with like 4 gigabytes of RAM and a dual core.
Yeah,
it's got a dinosaur.
I do plan to invest in a PC, to invest in better equipment.
Yeah, same with
me. Whenever I go to university, I should be able to have good internet speeds. At the minute, my internet speeds are non-existent. I have to use. I'm straight like at the minute. I'm having this discussion over a hotspot. This episode was meant to be yesterday, but because I was like my hotspot, my data isn't working properly, I wasn't able to do it yesterday, and I wasn't able to be a part of the video yesterday, so I asked it to be postponed until today.
Yeah.
So it's not like we haven't thought of everything, and I'm not saying we have thought of everything, but
no,
we, for the most part, a lot of the things within PF, we're trying to make it. If something is the way that it is, there generally is a reason for it, and if there isn't, we're going to address it and we're going to try and change it. But in the future, we definitely want to try and be more professional and set things up better.
So let me give just a tiny bit of insight, and we can wrap up here. Just real quick, Slice. We had that episode, and we faced a lot more backlash. We faced a lot of people, like a lot more fans than or audience than we were used to. Anything like that. At the end of it, we were like, man, like what should we even do? Like we were having like doubts about it in general. But then, after I saw these criticisms from people, like from someone like Fries, for example, left a very constructive comment. I had a lot. I'm not going to mention any names because it was private DMs, but I had lots of DMs of actual constructive criticism. There's people in the active in the podcast chat, in Mahler's podcast chat, talking about it, who actually left pretty constructive criticism. That honestly, it lit a fire under our asses in the sense that we actually. I mean, at least in my aspect, it has inspired me to want to continue doing this and make it more serious and
make it as good as possible.
And put more content out there. So I thank everybody who has made very valid criticisms and constructive criticisms, and I thank you all for that, because it honestly, it's just going to help us at the end of the day. And I really appreciate people in the chat, having a discourse and stuff like that. And we're gonna try to just wrap it up there, though, just to, just wanted to address that.
Does anybody have anything else they want to add before we
not really
finish up?
Again, Naira, if you want to have a discussion, you're already in the Discord. Just come into the PAFE. We're about to end the stream actually, so you can just hop in and we'll be right there. Yeah,
we'll have a whole conversation with you there if you want.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't say for the rest of us, but
whatever you want.
It sounds.
I think Borgie and me would be happy to do that as well as myself.
Yeah, I'd be happy enough.
100%.
All of us will be in the Discord. We can chat about things. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up. So thank you again, guys, for bearing with us. And I'm not sure when.
And we love you, random citizens.
Yes.
We will be back to your regularly scheduled PAFE episodes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, with that, I believe that is everything. And this should go up within the next couple hours. So, have a wonderful day, guys.
Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for the people who are here commenting. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And also, again, shout out to Rags. Shout out to Rags, whose channel is in the description. And we really appreciate him coming on and helping out with the channel and giving us.
He's a fucking nice guy, and
Yeah.
he didn't need to come on, but he did. He did us a favor, and that was really nice of him, and we really appreciate him for that.
Yep.
So
Alrighty.
yeah.
All right.
Take care.